Two.
Call is now being recorded.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome so much to our pre-convention candidate Q&A. We have candidates for public office as well as party office here. We're going to give all of them an opportunity to give their pitch to the delegates. Each candidate for public office, that section is going to go first. I'm going to give each of them who are here 3 minutes to give their elevator pitch to the alternates. And then once all of them have gotten a chance to speak, we're going to open the floor for questions and answers from delegates. Let's all do our best to keep things, as cordial as you would like for them to represent you on YouTube forever. Once the section on public office is over, then we're going to switch over to candidates for party office, at which point we will do the same thing. We'll give all the ones here 3 minutes to speak, and then after they've all spoken, we'll open it up to Q&A. In both cases, we are going to be going in reverse order of how they appear on the ballot, because that is also, once we convention, how we nominate them for public office. Doing the same for party office. Yes, John, thank you. If everybody who is not speaking could mute, that way we can minimize our background noise. Thank you very much. All right, so with that, we're going to start with, so we do have Mark Ash, who is seeking the office of Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 3. I don't show him to be here right now, but I have heard that he's going to be at convention, and so we're excited about that. He's run with us several times before. Art DiBianca gave his condolences that he's not going to be able to make it tonight, but he is wishing everybody for safe travels. He's seeking our nomination for Railroad Commissioner. So with that, we're going to kick things off with Austin Kelly seeking the nomination for Commissioner of Agriculture. Austin, please take it away.
Thank you for having me. I would like to give my pitch of why I think I would be a good candidate for the Texas Ag Commissioner and why I would be a good representation for the Libertarian Party. I've been in ag since I was 10 years old, and I am now an agricultural consultant. I went to Texas A&M and got my undergraduate degree and working on my PhD there as well. And I have my own consulting business, ARC Ecological Consulting. And I do ecological and agricultural consulting across the state and across the nation. And I believe that our state has had a major issue, primarily due to Sid Miller in the Texas Department of Agriculture. And one of the major issues is just that they keep taking more and more power every year. And we need a libertarian voice in that position. We need someone that is going to cut red tape for farmers and give people back their rural rights and the ability to just grow what they want without extra fees, without extra regulations, while still keeping our state safe using the proper biosecurity controls, but not limiting people to do what they want. And we need to get those stupid stickers of Sid Miller's off of all the scales that are in every grocery store. So I think I would make a good choice for this position because I want what's best for our state's agriculture. And I think the best way to promote our agriculture is to cut all the regulations and bring the freedom back to the individual, back to those farmers and ranchers, and give them the ability to sell directly to whoever they want. Quit making them jump through hoops. And we need somebody that's going to fight against the state and all those extra regulations. And the Texas Department of Agriculture really, if it's not going to be abolished, it should at least come as close as possible. And that's why I'm running for this position.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Austin. All right. I do see that Mark Ash has joined us. So Mark, if you would like, you have 3 minutes to address the delegates here and the ones who will be watching later on. Let us know why it is that you would like us to nominate you for Court of Criminal Appeals, Place 3. Mark, oh, we had audio for a second. You might try
Mark is
unmuting.
muted, I think, according to the symbol.
Yeah,
Muted. Okay, can you hear me?
there we go. We can hear you now.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
I'm still
You've got
learning.
3 minutes.
I'm still learning Google Meet. Okay, yeah, I think
All
it's
good.
it's very important that I think that the Libertarian Party has a judicial candidate. I am the only judicial candidate. I also think that the worst thing that can happen to anybody is being incarcerated. And as a Texas, if I were to be elected as Texas Court of Criminal Appeals judge, I would make sure that your civil liberties are protected, and that only though that the record does reflect that indeed this person is guilty of the crime for which they've been charged. And that being said, I also believe that the Libertarian Party has more votes for judicial candidates because they're independent of party politics. The other two parties have their voter base that they have to appeal to. And I would certainly not appeal to any voter base. I would be very independent in the decisions that I make as a Texas Court of Criminal Appeals judge. Am I past my 3 minutes?
No, sir. You still have 1:45.
Somebody's listening. Hey, thanks for the ad.
One. Oh, you're back on mute, sir.
Oh, here we go. With that being said,
There
I
you
have been a judicial candidate before, and I did get a lot of votes in the 2018 election. My background and my experience, as you all know, is, or most of you should know, is criminal defense, and I will continue to represent people who've been charged with crimes. I also do have some quasi-judicial experience as a property tax arbitrator, and that has given me a perspective of having to listen to the evidence and
I think you bumped that mute button again, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry about
There
that.
you go.
I need to stay away from my hands from the computer. Okay,
There
that being said, I seek your support, and I definitely will run an active campaign if I do get formally nominated.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mark. All right. Now we have Neil Snyder seeking the nomination for Commissioner of the General Land Office, also known as Land Commissioner, because that's a mouthful. Neil, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Okay, hi, my name is Neil Snyder from Waco, Texas. Been here all my life and run for office 4 previous times for state representative, District 56 2 times, and District 57 2 times. And was interested in running for office again this year. So got in touch with Wes, and he was looking for somebody to run for the Commissioner General Land Office. So I volunteered. And the 3 things I'd like to do if elected to Commissioner General Land Office. First thing would be to audit the finances and expenditures of the land office, not in particularly the land office itself. I'm sure their finances are fine, but I'm talking about payments downstream, where that money might be going to, and possibly is there fraud in Texas going on like there is in Minnesota and California. So, and I kind of wonder if the public school fund might not have fraud in it, but that would be the first thing I'd like to do if elected. And the second thing is take the public school fund, and we're trying to do school vouchers or trying to get private schools on an equal footing with public schools financially. So I'd like to open that public school fund for all education so we can educate all the children in Texas with the public school fund. And the third thing I would like to take a look at is return, the Commissioner General Land Office manages 13 million acres in Texas. And, I'd like to take a look at how that land came in possession of the state government and consider returning that land to the counties and cities and where that land is. And those are the three things I'd like to accomplish if, first of all, if I get the nomination to be the commissioner at the General Land Office, and the next if I was by chance elected. And that I'll yield my time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Neil. All right. Next up, I have Anthony Cristo seeking the nomination for Lieutenant Governor. Anthony, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation. You're on mute, sir. Almost. Oh. If we need to move on to the next person and come back once you get your audio stuff fixed up, give me
How's
a peace
that?
sign. There
There.
we go.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. Other than the fact that I'm the only person that was able to get their filing fee done up in time, I know that libertarians were notorious for selecting NODA. I sincerely think I am the best candidate on the ballot. I have experience as being a debate teacher. I not only teach debate, I judge debate, and I help students create bills. I help students create amendments. I help students write things, basically learn how the government works. So if you want someone that's going to be in the Senate, that's going to be able to decipher how the ins and outs goes and whether a bill's written carefully or if there's a lot of pork hidden in there, I'm the person that will be there to find it out. You had mentioned about auditing. Right now, Texas is operating at a $24 billion surplus. However, we've discovered with the school districts, including the one that I'm at, that there's a lot of wasteful spending going on still. So definitely as a lieutenant governor, I would be the one that'd be appointing people to the auditing committee, the budget board, redistricting committee, and the council on investigative inefficiencies. So I could definitely help you out there by selecting people that aren't just going to be pushing a party agenda, but doing what's best for Texas. And that will include having both Republicans and Democrats and independents in, not just one party to force their own agenda through. And those are the reasons why I think I'd be the perfect candidate for lieutenant governor. And I concede the rest of my time.
All right. Thank you very much. And that's going to bring us to Pat Dixon seeking the nomination for governor. All right, Pat, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
The most important thing to remember is my website, patdixon.org, PATDIXON.org. There's a lot of information about me, not only the campaign for governor, but my past experience in political activity, nonprofit activity, and business activity. The reason I'm running is Wes Benedict asked me to, and Wes can be rather persuasive, but there are 3 other reasons. The first reason is qualifications. I've been a Libertarian Party member since 1984. I've been to every state and national convention since 2002. I was twice elected to city council in Texas, so I served 2 terms in local government. This is not my first campaign. I have a lot of experience in managerial roles, and the office of governor is a management leadership position. So you can look at my qualifications, and I believe I am qualified for the job if I was elected. Second reason is choice. I do not think 3 choices on the ballot is a crowded ballot. I challenge the notion of a crowded ballot. I think voters deserve choice. I don't want to just leave it to a Republican or Democrat, and those are the only choices. The third reason is liberty. I'm a libertarian. We're libertarians. We want our positions represented. And I think there's a long way to go in Texas. So go to patdixon.org. I look forward to seeing you at the convention.
All right. Thank you so much, Pat. Let's see. So that's going to bring us to, and for anybody who joined late, we are doing these in the opposite order that they appear on the ballot, because that is the same way that we nominate them at convention, which means following Pat Dixon is going to bring us to our only contested statewide race. I flipped a coin to see who was going to get to speak first. It came up Ted Brown. So Ted, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Well, great. Thank you, Anastasia. And thank all of you for coming out to hear the candidates tonight. It's very important to learn what everybody's thinking before you vote over the weekend. So basically, I'm running for U.S. Senate again. I ran in 2024 against Ted Cruz and Colin Allred, and my slogan was "The Better Ted," because, of course, Ted Cruz was running. I'm the only Ted this time, but it was a great campaign, and I'm proud to say I got a record number of votes for a Libertarian Senate candidate in Texas, 267,000 votes. And the campaign was, there was a lot of social media engagement. There was YouTube ads. I even consulted with a political consultant who helped me out. I wish he could have done more for me, but he gave me a lot of good advice. And then there was some dark money that was put in the campaign by some we still don't know who was putting out a lot of advertising against Ted Cruz and backing the campaign. So you never know about those kind of things. But the reason I'm running again is because the national situation has gotten far worse. I've been a political activist all my adult life. And it's just going down the tubes even more so than it usually does, and that's all across the spectrum. It's the on the economic freedom side, on the personal freedom side, and really it's gotten worse just recently on the foreign policy side, where the Trump administration, Donald Trump, is of course he was attacking Venezuelan boats and kidnapping the president of Venezuela, and now it's even worse with this war in Iran, which is totally unnecessary and a war of aggression by the U.S. So because of this, it requires a libertarian candidate who is firmly anti-war and anti-intervention. And I believe I'm that candidate. I think it's the most important issue in the race right now. Or if you don't think it's the most important, it's one of the most important. And I defend individual rights. That's why I'm here. I believe that those in power destroy people's rights here and abroad, and they sure do a good job of it. They do it without even a care or a thought. They just, these are just like little ants to people in government, just destroying people's lives. So I have experience not only as an anti-war candidate, or an anti-war activist rather, going back several wars, but also in advocating for liberty across the board in all of our positions on the civil liberties side, personal freedom side, economic freedom, and certainly on the foreign policy anti-intervention side. It's very important for the public to hear a principled libertarian campaign, and I'm very experienced in doing that. I've run for office numerous times. I've been a party activist my whole adult life. And I think it's vital for the public to hear the libertarian positions that are alternatives to the garbage they hear from the mainstream candidates and mainstream media. So please go to my website at tedbrown.org and follow me on X, Twitter, and on Facebook. And a lot of you probably got some emails from me where I was soliciting your support over the last couple of weeks. If you didn't, check your spam folder. Okay, thank you.
There we go. All right. And that brings us to Mark Sims, also seeking the Libertarian nomination for U.S. Senate. You've got 3 minutes to address the delegation, Mark.
Hey, good evening, folks. I'm going to dispense with the backward-looking stuff. There's already a lot of available information and some video clips and out there on my website. I want to talk about the future. Engineers focus on structural integrity, and the simple fact is the structure of our government is broken. The input side is working just fine. They keep taxing everything. It's the output side that's completely broken. The American dream is slipping away from Gen Z and Gen X. They're being hit especially hard. And the political class just keeps on running their race machine. It keeps our voters divided, distracted, while they keep ripping this country off. But let's look inside for a second at our own scoreboard. For 54 years, we stayed really fiercely loyal to our principles. But we seem to spend a lot of time looking inward. We've never really broken through. And I believe in 2026, we might have a once in a generation opportunity if we want to compete to win. We need a new playbook. We have got to get out of the echo chamber and turn outward. I believe that our target voters make up some 70% of Texans who are truly looking for something different. We can build a winning coalition of pragmatic independents, fiscally homeless Republicans, alienated blue-collar Democrats, and yeah, voters who backed Donald Trump simply because they were desperate to disrupt a corrupt establishment. We reach each of them by becoming the ultimate principal disruptor. We stop the cultural one-upmanship and we deliver a consistent message of economic opportunity, fiscal responsibility, and social tolerance. We tie our principles to their daily lives. We will never deliver solutions founded in liberty if we just keep playing by the corrupt political rules of the two parties. We must become the party of liberty and the party of reform. That means we have to emancipate Congress from special interest bribery. It means securing tamper-proof elections. And it means passing a balanced budget amendment with teeth, one that literally fires Congress if they spend more than they take in. To get this done, I'm planning a robust campaign. This will not just be a social media operation. I'm a newly retired guy, and I'm dedicating myself full-time to this effort. I'll be on the road at gun shows, county fairs, voter forums, wherever I can find a crowd that's willing to engage. We have a formal plan to monetize the last 10 years of Texas political donor data. Some of the affiliate counties have already been given this data who have requested it. And I've got a DC analytics firm lined up that's committed to making it actionable, i.e. linking donors to their contact information. We have a strategy for earned media with political podcasts and Texas writers. And I'm already in discussions with a seasoned principal consultant and digital ad services firm to ensure that we hit the ground running. 2026 is the year we stop tending to the embers and we light a national bonfire. And I'm asking for your support for this nomination. This party, this state, this nation, we all face big challenges, but they're solvable. We just need to buckle down and get to work and fix it. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
All right, you guys are both really good on time. That takes a certain amount of skill. I don't know if y'all practiced. All right, so unless we have Mr. Alonso Echevarria Garza or Tom Oxford on the call, then we will be done with our candidates for public office. With that, I want to open the floor. You guys can raise your hands. I'm going to keep my eye on it, and we'll just go in order of whoever raises their hand. You can ask your question to one candidate, multiple candidates. Do try to keep it to one question, and then if you have another one, get back in the queue. That way we can get as many answered as possible. And it looks like we're starting with Mr. Joe Roberts. Did you change your mind, Joe? All right. Anybody else have any questions?
I think I'm good now.
Yeah. There we go.
All
Got
right.
it. Go ahead.
In case of Mark Ash on the mute button tonight, I guess. All right. So my question is basically for Pat and for Anthony, since you are at the top of the ballot as far as our Libertarian candidates are concerned. In Dallas County, where I live, and just like in most counties, the only Libertarian candidates that are going to be on our ballot are the statewide candidates. So those are the only candidates that we are realistically going to be going out and on a daily basis be getting out the vote for. So my question to both of you is, what are you doing currently in your campaign to, number one, inspire the libertarians and libertarian adjacent people to be attracted to your campaign and to actually get out the vote and to get as many voters as possible, and along with that to the general public, because we aren't going to win. Obviously, I mean, we're not going to get to a higher percentage without attracting non-libertarians. So what are you doing to reach out to those who are politically homeless, or because of what's going on with Trump and Abbott and everything, or those who are swing voters who aren't committed to either Republicans or Democrats anyway? What is your campaign actively doing to reach out to those voters and to the people who would support you in your campaign?
Do you want me to go first, Anthony? I think you nodded your head. Okay, I'll go first. So Joe, the first thing is to put fuel in the tank. Some of you probably got email fundraising solicitations from me and my campaign manager, Jeff Neal. has put that together. So I can't tell you that I'm going to do a lot of activity until I get the fuel in the tank to actually do it. I want to be as available as I can. I'm going to be honest with you. Practically, I cannot leave my business in full-time campaign. I have a business to run and I have a campaign to run. So I have to be reasonable about what I can do. But the goal right now is to get as much resources together, volunteers and funds, so that I can have an effective campaign. Joe, does that answer your question?
Well, I guess in addition to that, so I guess what points would you bring out? Let's take single issue voters. What single issues would you try to attract from those who would traditionally choose between Democrats and Republicans? So assuming you had the money, what would you be doing?
So I'll give you 3 issues. And of course, the issues depend on who you're talking to, right? When I've run for office before, when I talk to somebody, I try to find out what their interests are. But 3 things I want to bring up. Robert Robertson is, I believe, innocent. And I think Ken Paxton and Greg Abbott want to show they're tough on crime and they're willing to execute an innocent man. The governor cannot pardon, but the governor can go to the board of pardons. So that's one issue. A second issue I'll bring up is if Donald Trump or Joe Biden or even Chase Oliver called me and said, hey, never mind the special session you called to deal with emergency response to a flood, I want you to focus on rigging the next congressional election, my answer is no. All right. The third issue is more long-term. Texas is growing. We have data centers popping up like weeds, huge demand on water and energy. We have more kids in schools. We have demand on roads. That impact should not be paid for by us. That impact should be paid for by the people causing the impact. That's called free market sustainability. In a free market, the people who want to invest and grow a business, great, but you're going to make that investment. You're not going to dip into a state fund like the Enterprise Fund or the Emerging Technology Fund and have the taxpayers avoid you having to pay for the impact on roads and schools and water and other infrastructure. So those are 3 issues that I think I do want to push, but again, it depends on who I'm talking to. Does that answer your question, Joe?
Yeah, I'd like
Okay.
to add to that because he mentioned redistricting committees. All those committees are decided by the lieutenant governor. The governor may call a special session, but I'm the one who will be picking who's going to be on those particular committees, whether it's auditing, redistricting, school board committees. I'll be the one calling them together, and I'll make sure that the people get everything hashed out in committee first before it goes to the Senate floor. And likewise, when I have the docket up, one of the things I want to make sure is that right now our budget is $24 billion surplus, but we have school districts like at Northeast ISD is operating $18 million in deficit. Judson ISD is $37 million in deficit. Northside is $35 million deficit. 46 million deficit in SAISD. The reason for that is because they haven't increased the amount of money per pupil since 2019. So for the last 7 years, we've been allocating the same budget. Now, it has had an happy accident in the fact that these school districts are now forced to look at each school and see, well, how much has enrollment gone down? How much extra coverage do we have? How much duplication of teachers do we have? So it has been a happy accident, but that is something that if we want to keep our kids educated and educated well, we need to fix that gap that's been created because inflation has increased 30% since 2019. And with the fact that the amount per pupil has not increased commensurately, that says a lot. So if you care about kids' educations, school choice is something that I am supportive to, but at the same time, we want to make sure that all kids are getting the equal amount of pay for their education.
I just want to add in, I tell Anthony all the time, he's the one with power. The governor actually in Texas doesn't have as much power. It's a rather limited role. So Anthony's really the boss.
Yeah, Pat, but if you get elected, I figure you're going to be appointing a lot of libertarians to those like 2,000 appointed positions. Am I right?
Yeah, well, there are
Qualified
some
people.
appointed positions, but there aren't as many as you might think. But yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for our candidates for public office? Sean, go ahead. Did the same thing happen to Sean that happened to Joe earlier?
Yeah, I hit the raise.
There
Dropped
we
my
go.
hand, but I forgot to hit the unmute. I would like to hear the candidates' positions on the ICE violations of our constitutional rights.
All of them?
Well, I mean, whoever wants to address it.
Okay.
I don't know if that works, but
Well,
I'd
I
love
was
to
going to
address
try
that
to
one.
establish some sort of order to that. But I guess we will take volunteers as they come. So Ted, go ahead.
Yes, the ICE is terrible. It's just shocking how what we saw how bad they could be in Minneapolis, where they could just take over a city and act like a Gestapo in there, like just stopping people on the street and bursting into people's homes and seizing people and just killing a couple of people as well. So, Frank, I know a lot of people believe in immigration enforcement, and some types are needed. Obviously, there are some criminals out there, but I'm very skeptical of everything we've heard about why we need this kind of ICE enforcement, the massive increase in ICE, which makes it more like a secret police for the president. And what we need really is a total change in our immigration policy. We need a Ellis Island style immigration policy where it's way easier to come here legally. Right now, it's almost impossible to come here legally. They ignore applications from people who want to do it the right way. People even come as refugees, which is legal, and now that's being stopped. So I think that people who do want to come here should be able to come to any port of entry, be checked out, checked in, and be able to work from day one. ICE, we don't need ICE. It should be abolished. We do need customs. We do need border enforcement at the border, at points of entry, but not inland. They're allowed to go 100 miles inland, which is ridiculous there, which just means most of the country is under immigration enforcement, which is terrible. So basically, I am a pro-immigrant candidate. There's no doubt about it. But I think it's true that you can't just do a willy-nilly thing. People do have to be checked in, and we have to know who's coming in here. But most people should be able to come in as long as they're not criminals, terrorists, bringing boxes of poison fungus to damage our crops or whatever the case may be. Most people should be able to come here who want to make better lives for themselves and their families. Both of my grandfathers were immigrants, and it's very important for people to be able to come here who want to make a better life for themselves and their families.
Fantastic. Who would like to speak to the ICE situation next?
If I may, Mark Ash. Yes,
Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, I, as you all know, am a anchor baby. My mother and father were not born in the United States, and I am very, very disappointed about the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, that the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation is going to remove about 18,000 people from their databases. Well, 18,000 people who have proper licenses to do all of the different professions that require a license. Number one, as a libertarian, I would not approve of licensing of professions, but be it as it may, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, a state agency, is becoming an enforcement agency for immigration. That if you don't have a Social Security card, a valid Social Security card, you can't be a cosmetologist, a plumber, electrician, an AC man, elevator, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that the state, our state candidates, should be aware of that and should be there to say that licensing a trade should have nothing to do with your immigration status. It should have only something to do with your ability to be able to do the job for which you are licensed. And that's just my 2 cents. And I hope that most of y'all agree with me.
Fantastic. And Pat, I'm assuming you put your hand up so you could go next. Any of our other candidates, feel free to put your hand up. Joe, you can keep yours up, and I will just keep track of it. Go ahead, Pat.
Yep. So there's a lot to say, but I'm just going to summarize it in 2 points. First is what the policy should be, and I agree with what Ted said. My way of saying it is, if you're peaceful and productive, welcome. That means if you're not peaceful, you don't get in. So I believe in enforcing that policy. So that's the policy. Then regardless of what the policy is, how do you enforce it? To me, what ICE is, some of you may remember who Dick Butkus was. He was this linebacker for the Chicago Bears. He was a monster. There were NFL players afraid of being on the field with this guy. If you're a football coach, you want Dick Butkus on your team, but you have to tell Dick Butkus, don't hit after the whistle. Don't hit when they're out of bounds. What I see ICE doing is hitting everybody with no coach. All right. If I'm governor, if there's a policy that is reasonable, we will cooperate with enforcing that. But if it's violating the Constitution of the United States, or it's Dick Butkus hitting people out of bounds and after the whistle, I'm not going to cooperate with that.
Got it. Thank you. That was beautifully succinct. Austin, your hand is up next. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I just want to take a kind of a Texas agricultural approach to the ICE situation in saying that just over emphasis on border control in general has actually been kind of a big negative on Texas agriculture. So it's really a biosecurity issue, or sustainability issue, I should say, to sustain our own economy with our agricultural systems, especially near the border. We have always, for centuries, had immigration to help with these agricultural production, be it rangelands and grazing, or farmers, and they've always had cheap hired workers from immigrants, and ICE has really cut that down, and it's become much more difficult. The farmers are getting harassed on the border, so it's not just a federal issue. Unfortunately, the Texas Ag Commissioner wouldn't be able to do much about it, but I would speak up against all this, just focusing on private ranchers and farmers that just want help. They just want people that are going to work hard, and it tends to be cheap immigrant labor has always been a net positive for our agriculture, for our state, and we need to fight against this ICE overpowering.
Thank you very much, Austin. All right, Mark, you're up.
Yeah, so here's what I believe. I'm totally disgusted with the unprofessionalism that we saw earlier this year around enforcement of ICE. We need to change the laws and enforce the laws as they are. We have to be careful about just going back to Ellis Island. That was 1892. America was 75 million people at that point, and now we're 340. Resources are being strained. We've got a social welfare state. Open immigration for anybody who shows up has to be thought about, particularly if they're not coming prepared to assimilate into this society. So we need to have a good internal discussion, well thought out. We need to document it. We need to pass a law, and then we need to enforce a new immigration system fairly. That's the way I look at it.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's see. Looks like we are back to questions. Joe, go ahead. And then we have up next Kenneth and Nolan.
All right. My question is for Austin. As you may be well aware, your down ballot statewide candidates, they tend to go by party lines. So I'm curious how you first of all, how you're going to help break that. Again, assuming you have the resources to do this again. Do you have any ideas or strategies on how you're going to reach out to people all over the state, not just in the agricultural community, but some of us city slickers like myself to break those party lines and to vote for that third party candidate?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the question. And so I am completely different from the other two candidates, I would argue, because we have a new Republican candidate. It's not the incumbent, luckily, but he doesn't seem any better. It seems like he's just handpicked by Governor Abbott, and he's just going to be a political pawn in the scheme of things. He's just going to do whatever the Republican Party asks of him. And what that really translates to is giving the Department of Agriculture more power. And unfortunately, the Department of Agriculture has so much power right now. Under 12 years of Sid Miller, we've expanded things like the Rural Health Commission is under the Texas Department of Agriculture. School meals are often dealt with the Texas Department of Agriculture. Like, why does one person and that's just have all the power to make all these changes? It just shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be a commission's problem to be picking winners and losers regarding our farmers and ranchers. They're picking whoever pays the Texas Department of Agriculture to win and get branded by them to say, go Texan. But regarding the city, getting to city voters, I would really focus on that Texas agriculture really affects everybody. It affects food prices. We need to be able to keep our food prices low. We want farmers to be able to sell directly to the consumers in the state. And right now that is extremely difficult to do because of all the hoops they have to jump through. And that will just get worse with Republicans in office. And then the Democrat in office is probably even worse because he's wanting to try to unionize all the farmers. And we know how well unionizing can go, and having full government control of all the farming and ranching in the state would be a nightmare. But either situation, we're losing our rights in rural communities, and that really affects everyone in the state because we don't have control. The free market is not supporting the correct prices for our foods and commodities and clothes, everything that is affected by agriculture across the state.
Great question. Great answer. Thank you guys very much. Kenneth, you've got a question?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Awesome. This will be for both of our Texas Senate candidates. I would like to hear the answer on this one. Do you believe federal plenary power over immigration overrides the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution, or should federal immigration authority be limited by it?
I guess or Mark, go ahead.
As a 10th Amendment guy, I would say it could be a state issue. Unfortunately, immigration isn't limited to just a single state. There's a long border in the south and there's a long border in the north. And traditionally, this has been a federal issue. I just want it done fairly, consistently, and I want immigration to work for the country as opposed to just be willy-nilly in chaos that it has been. So because it's a multi-state issue, I think it probably has to be a federal issue. California, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, Maine, all can have different immigration policies.
Okay, if we're talking about the Constitution, in the Constitution, there's it mentions naturalization rather than immigration. So definitely, the federal government's responsible for determining who becomes a citizen and under what circumstances they become a citizen. But a lot of people can live here as immigrants who do not become citizens and just come here to work and to support their families and have no interest in becoming U.S. citizens and voting and all that. Now, if we're talking about whether the federal government should have control over immigration and whether people can come here at all, that's what I was talking about there not being a lot of rules for that. There does have to be someone to check people in when they come in and to be checked out by, to check out their legal status, whether they're criminals or not, that is, in their own countries. And if there's like an Interpol warrant for them or something like that, or if they're on the terrorist list or whatever the case may be. And that pretty much would have to be like an agent at the border or at another point of entry. So I think we do need that to be pretty standardized. So we would have a certain set of standards to look for when people come either to the border town or to the airport or to the port or coming in somewhere to the U.S. So I think that would have to be pretty standardized. But again, as I mentioned before, it would be standardized in a way that would be
All right, Abby, I'd like
would
you
allow
to
more
take a
people
shower,
in.
please.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Nolan, you've got a question?
So my question is for it's for three people because I think this might work out for definitely for Pat, Anthony, and Austin. Especially when with the recent stuff with hemp as well as cannabis. What would be y'all's plan to try to especially making sure that it is legal, especially if it comes to legalization and decriminalization of cannabis?
Yeah, I might go first on that. Unfortunately, if you know a bit about the history of hemp farming in Texas, the ag commissioner is the one that kind of determines, they were charged by Congress to be the ones that gives out the rights to grow hemp. And that was done by a system of you could pay a certain fee and they would decide who gets to grow hemp. And Sid Miller, the past incumbent, one of his advisors was in charge of that, and he actually got arrested because he was taking bribery for people to grow hemp. And so he was picking winners and losers and went to prison. And then once they bailed him out, he got his job back, which is just insanity. But that said, the Texas Department of Agriculture still holds those hemp rights, and I would just make it across the board. Unfortunately, we can't change the laws that Congress puts in place, but as the law stands, I would just make it a system that anybody that wants to, we would see about making it a fair system rather than picking winners and losers. Sorry, it's echoing. Anybody that wants to be able to grow these things on their own property should be able to, is my opinion.
As the lieutenant governor and being in charge of the docket for the Senate, I would definitely put forth any bill that sponsors the legalization of marijuana, hemp, and cannabis, whatever you want to call it. And then that way the agricultural department can, will still have control over it, but, they would be the ones that don't have to worry about the legality of each issue. So removing a hurdle like that for Austin would be my job as lieutenant governor.
All right. And Pat was one of the other ones you had asked that question to. However, Pat had to step away. So he invites you guys all to karaoke tomorrow night. And with that, I see, Jeff, you have a question. You are going to be the last question that I accept for our candidates for public office. And once that has been answered, we're going to move on to hearing from our candidates for party office. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, excellent. Got in just under the wire. First for Mark Sims. Mark, it looks like you've got a very extensive website, and your overriding theme seems to be one of reform. I see something like 18 proposed amendments there. Could you focus on one or two or three of those with a little more specifics on your plan for actual corrective actions? And then maybe Ted Brown can follow up behind you with a couple of his very top priorities and planned actions.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of the topic that was the focus of the clip that I put out this afternoon. I think the key thing we have to do is eliminate all the dark money that's flowing through Washington. That influences everything. It influences the way people get elected. It influences the way, bills and things are brought to the floor of the House and the Senate. Virtually every candidate in some way is compromised if they're not compromised by the time they got elected, they're compromised within a couple of weeks, because they end up having to essentially buy committee seats and gavel seats to run those committees. That money is fronted by the very industries that their committees are responsible for regulating. So we have to clean up the money first. It's a really, really corrupt system. The existing members hate it because they spend all their time fundraising. And I think the new members are probably shocked when they first encounter it. That's why I said one of the things I want to do would be on November the 4th, I'd start organizing a revolt and simply say, we're not going to play that game anymore. There's going to be about 15 to 17 new senators probably in Washington in the 120th Congress, and maybe 75 or 80 new congressmen in the House. So I'd like to provide leadership and work with that group to try to change the rules. The next thing I think I've really focused on is election reform. I really believe, whether it's the SAVE Act specifically, in general, we've got to make sure that our elections are secure. Everybody gets to vote. I've got a whole bunch of stuff in my reform package on that area, everything from the term of office. I think the office should probably start shortly after election as opposed to 2 or 3 months. Why do we have a lame duck session where the people who lost keep legislating? That doesn't seem very smart. We shouldn't spend our entire, 24 months in between actual elections campaigning. We ought to have a season for governing. I've got an element of elections which deal with gerrymandering. We ought to simply just eliminate it. We've got computers that could completely, fairly, with no bias, generate the best combination of congressional districts that we could have. So those are some of the things on elections. And then finally, the last really big one is balanced budget. We've got a $39 trillion deficit. That's $250,000 per household, and it's hanging around everybody's neck. We cannot continue on this trajectory. So I've got a proposal that says if Congress can't balance the budget, we fire them. It's pretty simple. And we have a lottery, and says half of you can't run for re-election. If you concentrate their minds on their careers, I think we'll figure out how Congress can work with the president and get to a balanced budget that raises appropriate revenue. We'd like for it to be a lot less. If you looked at all the fraud in the news the last few weeks, we probably need a lot less money than we're raising. And if we fixed a lot of things, we could raise appropriate amounts to do the things that federal government ought to do, and then we could start paying down this debt, because that's going to bite us in the not too distant future.
All right. Well, to respond to some of that, I actually agree with Mark about some of the problems that he was referring to. And of course, the national debt is totally unsustainable. We have $39 trillion of national debt, and of course, that's added to every minute by deficit spending, because that gets added to the national debt. The only way to prevent that is to cut spending. You can't do anything if you don't cut spending, and that would be to across the board, every government department, agency, program, starting with the Pentagon, which cannot pass an audit, and they're spending a fortune, and Trump wants even more money for them. They need to be cut back until they can figure out where a lot of the money that's been missing, hundreds of billions of dollars are missing there. That needs to be looked into. Certainly, there's too much dark money in politics, too much money in politics in general, because they're buying favors from politicians. Now, that's one thing I think Mark and I would agree on, that we're going to be independent in Washington, and that is that I'm certainly not going there to schmooze with lobbyists or to be raising money or anything. I'm probably just going to be serving one term, and I'm going to be an independent voice for liberty, the Constitution, and defending people's rights. And so the special interests can just shove it. I'm not going to even talk to them. And so The last one is on that SAVE Act. I'm opposed to the SAVE Act because I do favor election integrity, but this is like federalizing elections, which I don't believe needs to be done. It's like a Republican talking point more than anything, thinking there's all this fraud in elections. And even the Heritage Foundation found only like 68 cases in the last 25 years of people who are ineligible to vote actually voting. So basically, I don't care. I'm fine with showing a driver's license to actually vote, but it shouldn't be difficult to register to vote. It should be easier to register to vote. It should be easier to vote. People should be encouraged to do so. And what's the best electoral reform is allowing more candidates on the ballot, like libertarians, Greens, other alternatives, so the voters will actually have a choice instead of the same old garbage they have to put up with the uniparty. So that would be my view on it.
And what a great note to end on for hearing from our candidates for public office. Thank you guys so much for speaking to the delegation tonight. Thank you to everybody who asked questions and to everybody who joined. We are going to, with that, move on to our candidates for party office. That's going to be the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer of the party. They are the officers of the State Libertarian Executive Committee. And because I like order, we're going to do it in the same way that we did the candidates for public office. We're going to go in reverse order that they typically appear on the ballot, but we do have a bit more options there. I'm not going to get into the nerdy rules of it. With that, we're going to start with our candidates for treasurer. We have two. I flipped a coin to see who was going to go first, and we are starting with Mr. Robert Radford for treasurer. So, Robert, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining this call. So, I started out with the Libertarian Party probably about 6 or 7 years ago at the county level. During that time, I completed my master's in accountancy at University of Houston. Very proud of that. Very long journey in my mid-30s with kids. So now I've kind of stepped back and decided, well, what's the best way that I can help, right? Where's the places that I think I could help the party the most? And that would probably be in the treasurer's department. I'm currently a senior manager of accounting for a $500 million revenue company. I do take care of all the cash reconciliations, which is something that our party needs greatly. The other part of that would be the reporting of revenue, which is something that I've also had experience with as well. And then also building the financial reports. Other than the experience and kind of where I've come from with the Libertarian Party, I definitely want to get the cohesive message out, right? We need the state to really hone in on a message that I think appeals to more people. What I've seen from our party is very limited on what direction that we talk to people and we interact with people. And having that message be more concisive to the middle 50 is what I keep calling it, I think is the direction that we need to go. As a state officer, I'd be committed for the full 2-year term and look to help with the processing of the payments and financial reporting as needed. Anything else? You guys feel free to give me a question, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. As a reminder, questions are going to be at the end once we've heard from all of our candidates. So if you have something, be sure to make note of it, write it down somewhere, and hold it until we've gotten through everybody. Next up is going to be Mike Coogan, also seeking the office of LP Texas Treasurer. He was here a second ago. Mike, are you still there? If you're speaking, Mike, we cannot hear you. And I don't see your screen. In 3, 2, all right.
All right. So I got
here he
through.
is.
I got through. It's a horrible platform. I hate Google Meet. It was impossible to get off mute. I am actually at an external event out here in Dallas. I did drop off when I tried to switch back onto mute, so I popped back on. I was able to hear Robert's conversation just very quickly. I mean, most of you know who I am, what I do. I look at the role of treasurer, not as a political one. I think it's a very functional role. I do believe it is it has an absolute responsibility to make sure the governing body, regardless of where we land on the select bigger, select smaller conversation. It needs to let the governing body understand. I was personally disappointed that Joe isn't running again. I respect Joe a lot, and I think he did a great job in this role. And when I saw he wasn't running, it seemed like an obvious role for me to step into. Again, I don't believe it's to be a particularly strategic role. It is get the finance of the party, do trending, understand financially what's going on inside. I mean, I think we've seen the donations just absolutely go down. We've seen 8 of the top 10 donors go away. We struggle with donors in general. I think that level of analysis, because that's where I come at finance from. Those you know me, I'm a vice president for a billion-dollar company. I am responsible for over my lifetime well over $500 million of spend. Currently, I'm running about 50 million annually across both capital, et cetera. So I can certainly speak the language of financial planning. I can speak the language of financial strategy, and I understand how money moves. It's not a decision-making position. It is not a political position. It is one that is there to analyze what's going on and report dispassionately to the people who make the decisions what's going on inside the numbers. I believe that very strongly, and I think that is absolutely a function that the Libertarian Party needs to maintain at that level. So with that, I'd be happy to chat with anybody who wants to talk about it.
All right, thank you very much. With that, those are the only people who have submitted interest forms for the treasurer position. So we will move on to Nolan Schmidt, who is seeking our election as secretary of LP Texas. Nolan, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Thanks. I'm gonna probably keep my mine short and sweet. So pretty much I ran because after several suggestions by several party members, as well as seeing that there was no one running for secretary, I decided to put my hat in the ring. I've been told by several of my fellow members of LP Guadalupe that I've done a lot of good things. That was as close as a secretary job. Even though I'm vice chair, I try to make sure I keep a lot of our stuff organized, especially our forms, documents, notes, and everything else. And I also want to try to continue the amazing work that's been done by our previous secretaries. And I'll go ahead and yield the rest of my time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nolan. All right. Moving on to vice chair. Again, flip of the coin because we've got 2 of them. Mr. Paul Dar, you're going first. You have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Okay, good evening. Thank you very much. For those that don't know me, my name is Paul Dar. I'm the vice chair of the Libertarian National Committee. I am a District 19 representative for LP Texas here, and I'm the chair of the Bexar County Libertarian Party. Do a few things there, and I've been in the party for over 25 years now. So thank you very much for coming here tonight. A few of the things that I want to concentrate in Texas, I'd like to bring it down to top 3 priorities for LP Texas would be to grow membership growth, both membership and donors there, that we need to work on the various tasks that will help improve that. We need to continue running candidates and improve the number of candidates. We've had candidates drop, and that's going to be a challenge to face as the filing fees have greatly diminished in that area, and that'll be a particular challenge for us. And we need to continue on legislative action. That we've made many great strides, and we've improved the process from cycle to cycle, and we need to keep building upon that. So those are some of the top 3. There's many priorities for LP Texas. But as far as vice chair, I look at that duty as trying to execute the vision of the chair. Prior to this, I was looking at the, what Andrew has as some of what he wants to have in the future. I have not seen all of what Jacob and Joe wants for the future as far as their runs for chair of the party. But if they become chair of LP Texas, I will do my best to support LP Texas and execute the vision of the chair in cooperation with the rest of the SLEC. And I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Scott Talley, also seeking the office of Vice Chair of the State Libertarian Executive Committee. Scott, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Hey, everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. So I decided to run for vice chair because I haven't really been satisfied with the direction our party's been going the last couple of years. Everybody knows that we've lost a lot of members recently due to burnout or whatever personal reasons, moving, and it doesn't seem like new membership is growing very much. So one of the things that I was thinking about was that people our age, most of them have made up their minds. Yeah, we could change a few hearts by pushing our message, but one of the things that we haven't been doing is reaching out to the youth. We haven't set up a true youth outreach program at LP Texas. So I actually created one. I've got it in my Google Drive ready to go. I've shared it with a couple of people in here that have taken a look at it and given me their opinions on it. And I would like to try and reach out to high school students that are about to graduate, early college students, people that are upset with the two-party system and don't really know where they want to go. We can teach them the message of liberty, bring them on board for internships and stuff like that, teach them about internal party politics, Robert's Rules of Order, everything. And that is, I think that's where we're going to be able to build a foundation for the future of the party, not just with the people our age. I think with the rest of our people, we've just got to quit dilly-dallying and get along and get the work done. We waste a lot of time fighting over pointless things rather than focusing on our candidates and helping them get elected and reaching out to candidates to even run, for that matter. I'm a Williamson County chair, second term. I was vice chair for Williamson County before that. I've been on SLEC for 3 terms, and I've been on the events department. And many of you know that I've been working on the convention committee, helping plan this current convention that's coming up this weekend, which has taken up a ton of my time. And I'm willing to give my time to the party as long as the party's willing to work to better the future of the party. Other than that, I mean, I'm willing to work with anybody. I don't consider myself a factionalist, and I heard a lot of the stuff that Andrew has said, and I'm willing to work with him on all of that. And I'd be willing to work with any other chair that happens to get elected if otherwise. I'll yield the rest of my time.
Thank you very much. All right. With that, we're going to move on to our filed candidates for chair. And since we had 3, I had to roll a die, but got the order in as Joe Roberts, and then Jacob Bradley, and then Andrew Ameling. So Joe, you're up first. You have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
All right. Greetings, folks. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Joe Roberts. I am the chair of the Dallas County Libertarian Party. I have been on SLEC since 2020 myself, so I've got my libertarian bona fides out of the way. But I just want to say the reason I threw my hat in the ring, and I threw it in rather lately, was for one reason that was been kind of touched on by some of our candidates so far, is that our bench simply isn't deep enough. All right. At the point when I again voiced my interest in chair, we only had 1 candidate running for chair. I don't care how small we are. There's no reason why a candidate for state chair of a political party should only be opposed by NOTA. NOTA has a particular role in our, did I lose? Am I still here?
Hear you.
Okay, right. Let me just make sure. All right.
You're good.
All right. Just even though NOTA has a particular role, when we talk about state chair, if we NOTA our state chair, we don't have a party anymore. So really, that's not a likely scenario. And besides, Andrew has not, by any stretch of the imagination, done the kind of job where that would merit him being disqualified from the party. That having been said, though, elections do have a purpose. At first, there were a referendum on the incumbent and was done, but also for the winner, whoever the winner may be, it does send a clear message as to where the direction of the party should go. In this case, what I'm saying, speaking for myself, what needs to be done in our party to fix a lot of these issues, lack of membership, lack of good candidates, is to resuscitate this party by being more outward facing. We need to stop seeking candidates just within our current party. We need to start integrating ourselves into the community. I'm not just talking about in political affiliations and things like that. We need to encourage our membership to get out there, to seek out candidates at the local level, county level, district and state level, so that we're not in that position where someone is approaching somebody in November of 2020 or 2029 saying, "Hey, you want to run for governor?" Well, I guess so. We don't need that. I envision a party where we have people vying for to be our nominee, like we see with our senatorial election this year. All right, we need more of that. And how do we do that? We need to become more outward facing. Think of our Republican and Democratic counterparts. They have the primaries. What that means is they're out there not just campaigning to people who will vote for them in a convention. They're having to get people out who will never darken the door of a precinct convention to go out to the polls and vote for them. So they are campaigning from day one. We need to have candidates who are oriented in that respect. We need to attract candidates who already come with a following, who are already known well and liked in their communities. And we need to reach out to people who not only donate to us, not only support us, but also who will be influential in supporting others, people who are already connected to their community. We need to seek more ways to do that. I want our party to have its candidates for 2028 a year from now ready to run, not in November next year saying, "Oh, I guess I'll fill out an application. Let me look for some filing fees." We need a better infrastructure in place where we have not only ground support, but financial support, and where we're training our members to campaign, to support their candidates, so that these candidates are not out there, flying in the wind on their own, basically, with maybe
Thank you,
modest
Joe.
support. All right. Thank you much.
Appreciate it. The only candidate to use up all of his time tonight. Good job. All right, Jacob, you have Jacob Bradley seeking the office of LP Texas Chair. You have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Oh, okay, there we go. My name is Jacob Bradley. A lot of y'all know me. I've worked with a lot of y'all over the last few years. 2022, I got elected to select. This is my second term, going for my third. I am the chair of Waller County, which is just outside of Houston. I am the affiliate director for LP Texas. That's not helping. I'm the affiliate director for LP Texas, as well as the chair of the affiliate support committee for the national party. So I have the honor and I guess the joy of talking to a lot of the county chairs that are in here, as well as at the national level, talking to a lot of the state chairs. My biggest point that I am running on is, I'll tell the quick story and it'll kind of outline where I'm at. When I first started, I went to Fort Bend County's meetup. It's in the next county over. There was a guy there named Joseph LeBlanc. He was a candidate for ours for a while. He moved out of state. He just came back, got back involved. And we were having a conversation and he told me that he was a minarchist. I told him I leaned more towards the anarchy side. And he told me, "I'm not going to fight with you." It's like, "Fight with me about what?" And he goes, "Why we disagree, or why anarchy is better than minarchy, or minarchy is better than anarchy. I'm not going to have that conversation." And I said, "Dude, we agree on 97% of all of our issues." I said, "How about we fight those 97% and then we can get back together and argue about the last 3%. And I think that is one of the biggest problems that libertarians have in general. We're not willing to fight the 97% that we disagree with the established politicians and political elite. We're more worried about dunking on each other for the 3% we have been different. And I'm tired of seeing it. I've seen it for, at this point, going on 6 years. Meanwhile, we've made no ground. We haven't gotten closer to the presidency. I'd say we're moving further away from that. At this point, we're no closer to a governor. Hopefully we can change that this time. We had some really good candidates running for a lot of offices this year. But we need to not only close that gap, we need to start winning elections. And as long as we're focusing on fighting each other instead of fighting the state, we are going to continue to put out the same results we're currently having. And I'm just not okay with that. Like, this needs to be a time where the chair sits down and says, get along or sit down. Like, we need people fighting. We need cheerleaders. There's both sides of that. We need people, hyping up the people that are working, and we need the people working. And if you are not willing to do either one of those stops or either one of those things, like, I'm not saying leave, but I'm definitely saying be quiet. Like,
2 for 2.
What?
That's your time, sir.
Oh,
We have 2
perfect.
for 2,
Thank you.
using up all 3 minutes. I love it.
All
All
right.
right. Mr. Andrew Amling, who is also long-winded. So whoever we elect for chair, we're going to get a speech, but it's okay. Andrew, you have 3 minutes to address the delegation about your campaign for LP Texas State Chair. I saw that man 2.5 seconds ago. Hold on. There he is.
Good. I'm going to be uncharacteristically short because I don't want to be redundant. We're all going to say the same things. We all know what needs to happen here. The party's been kind of a train wreck for several years due to factional infighting and some weird candidates for, really just mostly due to factional infighting. The question is, I've been involved with, for those of you that don't know me, I've been involved with the party for a long time, 12 or 13 years. And came up through the ranks, county chair, SLEC rep, very successful development director for the state party, and then executive director for the state party, and then finally chair last term. I'm the incumbent chair. Last term was, I hope and believe, the last term that is going to be tainted with this factional bullshit. We all know that the party needs to grow. We all know that we need to recover and rebuild our donation base. We all know that we need to reach, Jacob and Joe and I all know that we need to reach voters outside of our silo, outside of our echo chamber. It's not about purity tests. It's not about being the one true libertarian. It's about how many people have you brought into the party in the last month? What is your ability to talk to normies, talk to people outside of the libertarian ghetto and reel them in, finding them where they are and talking about things in terms of problems they need solving and being able to show them how libertarian solutions will take care of their problem. I've had experience in several startup businesses, and I know that it's the easy part is coming up with a business plan. And today with AI, you can do that in a very short amount of time. What matters from the point of view of funding a startup is how much confidence do you have in the people that are going to be executing that business plan. We're all going to say the same things. I'm going to suggest and submit that I'm the one that can make it happen. My commitment for this next term is, Anastasia will recognize this, unfiltered Andrew. I spent my first term helping the party to heal. We still have there are a few people out there that kind of like those Japanese soldiers in World War II, didn't realize the war was over. They're still fighting the factional fight. But I believe that the momentum is on the side of those that want to unify and grow the party. And that's what I'm going to do for the next 2 years. That's why I want you to vote for me.
Fantastic. With 11 seconds to spare. Good job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for questions. It looks like we have a queue starting, so we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Sean Sparkman. Go ahead.
This question's for the chair. I heard a lot of problems.
I'm sorry. Do you mean for the person who is currently chair or the people running for chair?
For the people running for chair.
Got you. Go ahead.
So, I've heard a lot of problems kind of redirected as like, this is where we're going, but I didn't hear a lot of
specifics and the solutions, and kind of have a problem with that. Politicians do that a lot. What with the party maybe reducing the size of SLEC, and that seems to really hamper our state ability to do fundraising and do events. What is your plan to reach out and grow the party through statewide events? Or will there be statewide events? That's my question.
Why don't we
I
take
guess I'll
this-
go first.
Go ahead.
All right. So well, first of all, on the state our size, I don't, Sean, I don't know what you're talking about. Statewide events. I do think that the chair could be, one of the roles of the chair is to motivate areas of the state and counties to step out more. I know that, if Andrew or Jacob are elected, I'll have plenty of work to do in Dallas County, but I would want the support of the chair and of SLEC in general in any initiatives that I was taking to reach out to voters. I think that if I understand your question correctly, is if you're talking about specific solutions. I think it's just getting out and doing what we talk about doing. Here in my county previously, we have not done a great job of interacting with the public at large of, like I said, not just political things, but even things like joining chambers of commerce and things like that, where we're connecting with people who are already politically involved and are somewhat well heeled and would be, maybe they wouldn't join the party. And that's maybe one way where I may differ with Andrew, that our goal isn't necessarily to bring them into the party. Like I said, there are plenty of people who support Democrats and Republicans who aren't ever going to say, oh, I'm a Democrat or a Republican. So we need to attract those types of people to support us in that as well.
Can I add something real quick, Anastasia?
Go ahead.
So like statewide events would have been like the Plano Balloon Festival, fundraiser galas, and legislative action days.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, legislative action day was, even though our bill got crushed by the Republicans, that was, I think that was one of the highlights of the last term is getting a legislation written by libertarians on the floor and actually voted on. So yeah, we just
That was passed. It didn't get crushed, sir. Sorry.
Well, however you want to look at it, it lost. But it was a valiant effort. It was a good concerted effort, and a lot of libertarians were involved in pressing the flesh with the legislators and everything like that. So definitely encourage more of that as it goes along.
All right, Jacob or Andrew, do you have something to answer that question with?
I'll jump into
I
that.
see you, Jacob.
Yeah, I'll jump in. While I find it is the chair's responsibility to help fundraise, get involved, I tend to, and I've done this, it's the reason I've taken the positions I have within LP Texas at the national level, is that we need to equip our counties to do that. I did that with the affiliate support, the affiliate incentive program with the banners, the tables, and the canopies. If you're a county chair or you a new county chair or you don't know about it, reach out to me. I'll let you know. But I think that the best way we can grow the party is from the ground level up. We need to put in a solid foundation for the rest of the party to grow off of. The county needs to be in line. It needs to be doing things and making motions so that we can build the state off of that, and then moving to a point, the national off of that. I have my own comments about that, but I think really what the party needs to do, and something I would push for, is just equipping the counties to be able to set that foundation. And I would go around the state and help out with that stuff. I would, send stuff. We've sent, the affiliate department has sent out trifolds and all kinds of stuff on top of it, like that swag to hand out to those things. But I'd make more of a conscious effort to go to those to try to help the counties grow themselves, so that we could, at the state level, build off of the successes that they're having in the county.
Thank you. Andrew, did you have anything for that?
Again, we're going to find ourselves basically banging the same drum. I do think either Joe misunderstood me or I misspoke, but it's not my ambition to grow the staff to infinity. When I talk about bringing people into the party, I'm talking about voters primarily, although obviously, the more staff, the better, the more we can do. Otherwise, I would basically, we will have our fundraisers. We will have some events designed to reach high dollar donors or specific areas. But overall, my strategy will be to invest at the local level. We have to build from the county up. And so in that sense, the state as the parent organization, like a parent raising children, we need to build our counties up to where they are productive and they are growing and they are reaching people who can reach more people with a vision for liberty. And that is what we can do best from the state level is stand behind and equip our counties.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much. All right. Aaron Ramos, you're up. What question do you have and who is it for?
Howdy, can y'all hear me?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Alrighty. Scott had mentioned a youth outreach program, and I have a little bit of experience because I did work for YAL for a little bit. So I have I kind of want to ask, how do you plan to motivate individuals to actually participate with us versus the Republicans or the Democrats, or they're predominantly biased organizations? And that one's particularly for Scott Talley, but I'd also open it up to Jacob Bradley and the rest of the chair candidates, but Jacob because he was affiliate.
Okay. In that case, let's start with Scott Talley and
Vale.
then follow it up
Sí.
with the rest of the chair.
¿Puedo hacer un poco de mecánica? ¿Qué pasó?
Bro.
Aaron, you're on mute.
All right.
Here you go.
Now the background noise is gone. I would really like to reach out to. I would like to find. Hold on. Let me start over. The way I had it envisioned in my head is we'd create a new department for this, and a youth outreach department. And I think we would start off with forming coalitions with people like Students for Liberty and y'all, and finding somebody to run that department that has experience like you, Aaron. That if we ever start this program, it'd be good to have you on board, actually. Reaching the kids and selling our message, I don't think it's going to be as hard as you might think right now with the way Democrats and Republicans have been, because from all the youth that I've talked to recently, and I've heard from other people with kids that are in the high school age group or recent high school grads and college students, they're not happy with the government. They're not. And they're ripe for the picking to say is all we have to do is let them know who we are and what we're about. And I think that a lot of the kids would come to the Libertarian Party if they knew about us. I'm startled every day when I talk to people that don't even know who the Libertarian Party is. Still, we're the third largest political party in the country, and there's still people that don't know what a libertarian is. And if we can get out there and start telling these kids about it before they make up their mind when they get into college and get indoctrinated into some other philosophy, whether that some crazy Christian school that wants to turn them into evangelical Republicans, or whether it's a liberal arts school that wants to turn them into socialists. If we get to them before the other guys do, and sell our message before they get their brains scrambled, I think they'll come on board. I think they will. And the plan that I have put together that I've talked to Andrew and a couple other people about actually has an incentive program attached to it. I would want to create it just like the legislative action team has a directed donation, the youth outreach program would have a directed donation also. And we can intern these kids and eventually have them maybe write a report or something on what they've learned and how they feel about the Libertarian Party and liberty in general. And we can have a mechanism put in place to offer some sort of a scholarship, which would also help incentivize people to be interested into it. It may not be a very big scholarship. It may be as little as $500. It could be $5,000. It all depends on how much money that department can raise for the program. But going back to your question, I don't, as long as we have people willing to volunteer and work toward this program, and I think this will speak to a lot of people. I think we'll get the volunteers. I think we'll reach the kids, and we can teach the counties to do the reaching in their areas. And hopefully we can get some volunteers to get on college campuses and reach out to maybe some private schools or charter schools or something that'll let us in and let us talk to their kids.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Can I
much,
stand
Scott.
behind that?
Considering the fact that we have a full queue right now, I was actually going to ask the chair candidates if they could maybe drop their responses in the convention channel on Discord. If you do, I will make sure that they get on the convention prep page. Any questions that we're not able to fully answer here, I can put something up on the convention prep page for other people to reference. But we are going to move on to Carter Fanning, your question. And if we could please be succinct in our answers. I am trying to keep this from going more than 10 minutes over. Go ahead, Carter.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So my question is for the two treasurer candidates. Just looking from my vantage point, as far as officers go, the treasurer role has been our Achilles heel over this past term. Going into the term, QuickBooks was a little bit of a mess. The donor data and Nation Builder was a huge mess. And some of our processes were taking a ton of time to do a lot of manual work. From my understanding, it looks like we got some of the book cleanup done. There's still a ways to go there. Despite me pouring hours into trying to fixing the automation thing, there was really no desire to get that fixed, it looked like. And on the Nation Builder front, we've just haven't got to it because we haven't automated those processes. So with all that in mind, and knowing that it's a ton of work, plus we've had availability issues throughout the term where we kept having to ping Andrew and pull him off stuff he was doing to pay bills, because our treasurer was basically MIA the majority of the term. My question to the treasurer candidates is, do y'all have the bandwidth to do the work that needs to be done? And do you promise that you're going to be available so that we're not continuing to burn out staff?
Yeah, I can go ahead and kick this off on the first one here. To answer your question, Carter, is yes. Right? If you guys email me, I can guarantee you a 48-hour response. Of course, if you hit me up on a Friday, might not be a 24-hour response, but I'll get to it as soon as I can. My number one thing that I really want to try to focus on is maintaining the books, continuing with the current application that is being done, making sure that everything is compliance with GAAP, and then also building on that on the next 2 years so that we have good reporting. Other than that, definitely willing to help out. And I would also like to see a financial committee spun up so where we can have some other offset people that are part of this governing body to help out, right? Because I might be on a family vacation. I might be somewhere else at different times, but there needs to be a backup. And to have that committee spun up, I think would be a huge benefit for this organization. And I'll leave it at that for you.
Okay, I mean, I can answer that too. I've got no issues with being available for a treasurer role. I mean, that I don't even consider that. Just like Robert, I mean, and I believe him 100%, right? That, hey, if you send me an email, if you need me, call me. I will be right there, right? We shouldn't be having treasurer emergencies, so that's a little disturbing in and of itself. You need multi-person control, multi-person audit. recognize the issues with Nation Builder, recognizing the issues with QuickBooks and those kinds of things from a monthly reporting. I mean, that's core functions. It's boring. It's not interesting, but it's got to be done right, and it's got to be done. I mean, I've served as treasurer for smaller organizations. Of course, I serve as treasurer for my current organization, which is much, much larger. But on the charity side, getting that stuff right, getting it right 100% of the time is absolutely critical. In a regulated environment, if you're running a 501c3, you've got to get it right. You have to absolutely understand what came where, how it applies to your federal status. And that's equally, if not more, in focus in a political group. You know, I recognize that our TEC can be a little tricky, but you know, I spent a lot of time when I was a select member looking at those books, understanding what was going on there. And I have multiple projections that I shared with Joe, right? I know, you know, there was some frustration voiced at the beginning of this question, but I do appreciate Joe's outlook. I can understand why people get burned out, but I will be there to you know, within the bounds of the position, and I think that's important, right? It's not I'm going to go spin up a program to educate kids at college, right? I mean, that would be for a VC or for a chair or a specialized committee. I don't think we need a financial committee. I would actually be hesitant to do that. I do want to make sure that we get to a new level of transparency. I have lots of skills, you know, of identifying fraud. I do security for a living. I can look at a balance sheet, and statement of operations all day, every day. MBA in finance, honors. So just getting that level of rigor, I think, and leaving it better than it was would be what I would consider to be a good job. Treasurers in most organizations that I've been a part of tend to stick around for a long time because it isn't a glamorous job. It's get it right 100% of the time, and get the stuff out.
Fantastic.
Did I get called? Thank you. I couldn't hear that, Anna. I'm sorry.
Anastasia, we're kind of losing you, I think.
Okay, thank you. I want to make sure it wasn't me.
All right. Can y'all hear me all right?
Now you're good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. Zant, if you would, it's your turn to ask a question. Go ahead and yourself. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. First time going to be coming dabbling here. Long time libertarian, but just got the County of Leon affiliated this past year. So I'm going to be making my rounds, you know, introducing myself and meeting you guys and ladies. But I've kind of got a two-part question. I'd like to know if you could drop it in the chat for me, because it's kind of a broad question. Who that's all running for different offices, whether public or in the party, is going to be working the convention and has contributed to the convention. Big on volunteerism, and it's not that it's an end-all be-all, but I like to see who's, you know, putting some time in and stuff like that, because that does score points with a person like me. So if you could put that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. My second question is for the chairs. Who of you is going to be working the dunk booth?
I'll speak to that. I am the only chair candidate who has been brave enough to volunteer for the dunk booth. If you are wanting to get roasted while throwing balls at me, I will be there from 6:30 to 8. I believe it is the only cash thing at the event. And come on, guys, y'all know me. I know every single one of you here wants to throw balls at me. Bring cash, throw balls at me. Not, well, I mean, you can throw them at me. There's a cage, I believe, but you get it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Can't wait to meet you, Bradley.
I guess I'll speak to that a little bit also real quick. I'm actually the convention committee chair. I've been doing a ton of the planning and all of the stress. And I've projected some of that stress onto Andrew and Carter a few times, I'm sure. And it's been a wild ride, and I appreciate everybody that's reached out to help And Jacob's right. We still have a couple of slots left in the dunk booth. If anybody's interested in jumping in there, believe Nathan sent out an email the other day. It's also in the chat. There is a sign-up sheet. There's still 3 slots left. The 2 evening slots, and I think the 4th slot, I think, is right after maybe Anastasia. No, Anastasia's first, me, and then Christy maybe. I think Christy signed up. But yeah, and if anybody in here is interested in helping with the convention, we'll be there around noon on Friday to start getting everything ready for our Friday night events. Check-ins at 4. Come see me if you got any questions or want to help.
Thank you very much. All right, let's move on to our final question of the night. Ken, if you would do us the honors, go ahead.
I'll try to make this quick. Several of you have talked about growing the membership. I think that goes without question, but I haven't heard anybody talk about growing the number of affiliates. And I have, in my last 5 or 6 years, have seen affiliates start up and die within a year. And I don't know how we're going to get candidates that can win unless we pierce the smaller counties, where if we can get established, we can get members, and I believe we can win. And to me, it's all about winning. So I'd like to hear, particularly the chair candidates, how are you going to grow the affiliates and then help them so that they can stay viable?
Great question. Go ahead.
I'll take this one first, if you don't mind. Is that okay with everybody? All right.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I've done is the affiliate support committee, or the affiliate director. My team has called every chair. We've done it multiple times. For the newer chairs, we do it once a month. For the older chairs, we do it once every 2 to 3 months. We put together the incentive program to reward the active county chairs and try to get the inactive ones to be a little bit more active so we could do it. I think at this point we have given out 8 banners, 3 tables, 3 tables and tablecloths, and 3 canopies. If you think that you're owed one, let me know and I'll get you whatever you need. That has been a real big push of mine. Also, right now, just so the people here know, we currently have, I believe, 4 county chairs waiting till after the state convention to affiliate their counties. I have also a list of leads that I have been running down for different counties as well, to try to reach out to them to get them affiliated.
Is that you?
Okay, that's it, I think, but I'll call it a day.
I guess I'll go next, and I'm going to push back on that a little bit, just because one of my one of the things I'll be calling attention to more as we go on is that we are fighting from an underdog position. We spend a lot of time arguing with each other and about who's more libertarian than the others, and as a result, we don't get much what I would call organic growth or viable growth or good growth. We have been in a revolving door. It's the same with SLEC. It's a great reason to reduce the size of SLEC. It's the same with the counties. It's a good reason to focus on quality more than quantity. We historically have been too focused on finding warm bodies. We think that there's some number go up, like there's something advantage to having a bigger number but we're not looking at the quality. Jacob gave you a pretty good rundown of all the hard work that he's done in the affiliate support department to build this party, and yet if he had been asked a different question, he would be able to tell you some of his frustrations with county chairs who get themselves appointed and then never lift a finger to build their party, or county chairs who temporary county chairs who come on board and then they just ghost, and they don't, we lose them when convention time comes around because there's some small piece of work they need to do to keep their county affiliated and they can't be bothered. It is pointless for us to, he mentioned the counties that have been able to get some swag and some support from state because they're working hard, but he didn't mention the many counties that don't return his phone calls and aren't doing anything. We have got to focus on quality. We have got to focus on being better. We're in a situation where it's hard to recruit good candidates because we don't offer much support. It's hard to get good people to want to affiliate their county because that puts them at odds with their neighbors, and it puts a lot of burden of work on them that they're not prepared to carry. I would like to see us focus on getting our existing counties more functional and more hardworking before otherwise we're just spreading sadness. We're just spreading this revolving door of, it looks like we're growing, but then we get a big setback, and it looks like we're growing and we get a big setback. I'm tired of that. I don't want to do that anymore.
Here. Do we have anything from Mr. Roberts for the question?
Yeah, I think I see the valid points from both of those sides. I sort of take a middle ground that Andrew's absolutely right that we need to focus on quality. Should I be not elected chair? I have plenty of work to do here in Dallas County, and there's a lot of rebuilding and resuscitation that needs to be done here. I know the work that needs to be done finding candidates, all the things I was talking about at the state level needs to be done here in my county. And if I'm not elected, I'm definitely going to focus on that here, because that is something that needs to be done. We talked about the candidates who Andrew talked about the chairs who pop on and then disappear. We also have all these chairs, to be quite frank, who have been around for years and years and years and years, who are still the only person in their county who is in the Libertarian Party. You have to ask those questions. Why has there been zero growth? I understand in a rural county, you're not going to have the level of contact that you have in our bigger urban counties. But after 10 years, 8-10 years, if you've been the chair and there's been nobody added to the party, we need the one thing that I would encourage, and again, I think this is an affiliate support department thing more than it's a chair thing, but I would encourage the affiliate chair, whoever that may be in the next term, to not only so when we get those provisional chairs, to not only incentivize them with the rewards, but also I think it's a question of momentum. We have to keep momentum going. We're going to have this convention next week. This weekend, everyone's going to be fired up, and then we're going to have silence from the state party unless you're in Select or something like that. Unless that communication is going on, that encouragement's going on. I would like to see the affiliate department maybe even give a roadmap. So you're new county chair. Here's some practical things this month. Try this. This month, try this. This month, try this. And just give them sort of like training wheels for those. I just met Zant. I'm excited. He's new, but does he know? What are some ideas we could give him so that when 2028 rolls around, there's 10 people in his party instead of just him. That's the kind of thing I would like to see. And again, I don't think that's specifically the chair's role as a hands-on. I do think we need to get more of a staff and governance delineation going on. But that's definitely one of the things I would encourage our affiliate department to do to again go for that quality. Don't just go for numbers. But at the same time, those who are there, equip them and strengthen them so that we can thrive.
Can I touch on that real quick just for a second? I know it's not my turn. I already
You have
spoke.
30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds. In 2023, I put out an affiliate support book to grow the counties. It's called the Affiliate Growth Book. It is a 75-page book that I put out. It is sent to every county chair. When I call the county chairs to talk to them about what's going on, I offer them help. We do trainings. We're going to start them back up after the convention to help the county chairs grow. There's lots of resources the Affiliate Support Committee has put into helping the counties, and we've made it a point not to leave them out or to leave them feeling stranded once they do become chair. Also, if you want a copy of that book, email me and I will send you a copy of it.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Thank you to all of our candidates for party office who spoke tonight, and to everybody who asked questions, and everybody who stuck it out through 20 minutes after the time that I predicted this was going to be over. As I mentioned to the people who were there before we started recording, this is my first time doing this particular type of role, so I've learned a lot of lessons for next time. with that, I look forward to seeing everybody at convention starting, for festivities starting tomorrow, and then business starting at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning. There is still time to reach out in all of the various channels, whether it is reaching out to our committees through their emails or through the Discord or anything else like that. And hopefully we will see you guys starting at, what did you say, Scott, 4 p.m.? People can start checking in. So hopefully we'll start seeing people flowing in at 4 p.m. tomorrow, all the way through midnight, enjoying the things that we have set up. I cannot wait to see everybody, and you guys have a great night. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anastasia.
Thank you, everyone.
Real quick before everybody leaves, if anybody has any questions about convention, DM me on Discord or message the convention channel and tag me in it.
Thanks, all.
Thank you.